Topo Athletic is committed to lifelong health and better movement. Topo builds running shoes for those who get out there every day, regardless of weather, speed, energy, or mood. Their distinctive fit and feel combines instinctive human movement with modern performance and lightweight comfort to help you keep going, keep trying, and keep moving. Discover the Topo difference and step into a run experience unlike any other. Hey everybody, welcome to our Tuesday Fireside Chats. Today we're going to be talking to Marci Goldberg, who is a member of Team Be Real and Adina's team, and we're going to talk to her about her longevity in sport. She's been swimming for nearly 31 years and has. So we're just extending the invitation for her to join us in this conversation. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, there is a comment section. Feel free to chime in there with questions that you have, or hit the little question mark on the bottom right, and I'll see that as well, because as people are commenting, the screen will scroll right on by and I might miss it. Hey, Marci, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So first off, I know it's late on the East Coast, so thank you for, it's late. If it was me, it'd be late.
Past my bedtime.
8 p.m. and I'm already winding down and climbing into bed. So thank you for joining us so late.
No problem.
So during the introduction, as we were waiting for you to join us, I let the audience know that you've been swimming for 31 years, and you've been involved in the triathlon space for close to 20 years. So give us some insight into what has kept you involved in these sports for so long, because I've been doing endurance sports for 17 years, and that's still not, anywhere where you're at.
So I think for me, especially triathlon, swimming was just kind of become a way of life. It's something that my twin sister and I have been doing for almost 31 years, pretty much together. So that's our way to. Oh, my twin just joined. She's on them.
Your twin's name Julie?
Yes. Hi, Julie. Thank you.
Hi, Julie. Thanks for joining.
So we've always basically swam together, except for when we were not in the same state, which was for several years. But with triathlon, it's the community. I've been part of several different communities, and it's also just wherever I am, whether it's been Texas or back here in DC, there's always somewhere I want to race, or somewhere that I've raced that I want to go back to because it's my favorite, and I want to whatever. So but as far as just the longevity, it's really there's always just something exciting about just staying in the sport, and being able to tell people oh yeah, I've been in the sport. Now it's next year is my 20th season in triathlon and taking running seriously, and people are so you started when you were 5, and I'm no, I started when I was 19.
You mentioned doing races that are your favorite. So what races are your favorite, if you have a few?
I do. So up here in the DC area, my favorite, I have two favorite places to race. My favorite is Bear, Delaware, at Lum's Pond State Park. There's 2 local race companies, and I've done both of their races. And then also my twin obviously agrees with this because she's gone out to Rock Hall, Maryland on the Eastern Shore. It's just a beautiful nautical town on the tip of somewhere on the Eastern Shore. It's just such a beautiful place to suffer.
And those are all triathlons that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Very cool. So speaking of events, you have a couple of events coming up. One is the Rockville 10K, which you have told me in our little green room conversation that it's a repeat event for you. And then you're also going to be participating in a masters meet, which is you've been participating in it, I believe you said, for 10 years. Is that correct?
And this is its 10th year, so I've done it every year. So obviously, like, I have to go back every year just because I've supported it every year, and it's a great meet.
So in your most recent post, I got tired just reading it because you talked about swimming for 3,000 meters and how it involves IM and everything else. And, you know, despite being involved in these sports for 17 years, I'm a front crawl guy. That's it. Not doing anything else. Okay. So which of the swimming events is your favorite?
The 200 butterfly.
Yeah, that sounds excruciatingly hard.
So the funny thing about butterfly is when my twin and I joined swim team when we were 9, because our best friend at the time, when we were up here in DC, was like, oh, I can't hang out with the two of you. I'm going to the movies with the swim team. And that's, I think, what started my twin sister and my like competitive swimming career, which we're both still at it. It took me until like the 3rd summer of summer league to actually like learn butterfly. I always thought it was a beautiful stroke, but I was like, that's so hard to learn. Breaststroke was hard enough. I'm like, how am I going to do butterfly? So I learned it. I wasn't great. I didn't swim it. But then once I got into masters swimming, and I was like, okay, so now, you know, I'm focusing a lot on like distance freestyle because of triathlons. And I'm like, you know, I really love butterfly. I wanna like, I'm a breaststroker, but like I wanna do butterfly. And my twin had done the 200 butterfly in Texas at like a YMCA like state meet or something, and I was just like in awe of her. I'm like, how did she do that? And so my goal with masters swimming was to like build up, do the 50 fly at a swim meet. I did that a few times. I'm like, that's too late, it's too easy. And then I did the 100, which in a like a 25-meter pool is 4 lengths. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool, but this is boring. So March 2015 at my masters teams meet that we host, Albatross, I did the 200 fly for the first time, and I fell in love with it. It's like it's like the event that like everyone looks down on except for like Michael Phelps, pretty much. And it's like the most hated stroke, the most hated event. But it's my I can do hard things event.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like, and I feel like people just like either think I'm like totally crazy or they just like totally respect me because it's like, you like the 200 butterfly, like, is something wrong with you?
I'm gonna go with both.
Okay.
At the same time, I don't know if you follow SBR Sports on Instagram, but they just, do you follow them?
I follow. So I'm actually I'm not sure if this is my 7th or 8th year being an ambassador for them. Yeah.
The most recent post where they showed like how to practice the fly going underneath the lanes.
Yeah.
Like, that was totally cool. I was like, okay, that's a great way to kind of learn how to do it.
Well, did you see their story about like someone who swam like, I don't know how many meters in the open water, a butterfly?
No, that cannot have been.
I was like, I remember like, you know, like commenting, and I'm like, 200 butterfly in the pool is enough. No, I love the 200 butterfly because I met a few people from SBR when my twin and I did US Masters Nationals in Richmond in, I guess, 2022, which was supposed to be 2020.
Gotcha.
And so everyone, you know, from SBR was like, oh yeah, you love the 200 butterfly. So, yeah.
That's cool. So our mutual friend Adina has made 2 comments. One was Butterfly Queen, and so immediately in my head I started hearing Dancing Queen, of course, which is also a song that Adina sang in her head while she was swimming her 13th swim.
Yeah.
And she's giving you total respect. So that says a lot, right?
Yeah. Adina's awesome.
She's fantastic. Love her. So you recently, speaking of events, you've recently competed at the Jones Beach 70.3. Tell us a little bit about that. You did the bike and the run, correct?
Oh,
Nope.
swim and run. You did swim and run.
I was, well, originally when Adina, like, because I'm on Team Be Real, and I have my friend Anne to thank, who's like introduced me to Adina, like, I guess during lockdown, because my friend Anne lives on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. And so she connected me with Adina during lockdown, and I joined the trainer rides and I joined Team Be Real. So when they had announced Jones Beach 70.3 as the inaugural race this year, it was on his birthday. And Adina's like, this is going to be like our race retreat, whatever. And so originally I was just going to go up to, spectate. I was like the backup runner. And then I became the runner for a relay. And like Adina was going to swim. I don't remember who was going to bike. And then I was going to run. And then we had to find a fill-in cyclist because whoever had to back out for whatever reason. So we found one. And then we had another relay, and one of our teammates, Simone, was supposed to swim on the other Team Be Real relay, but she had gotten bitten by a spider, I think. So Adina swam on the other relay. I did the swim. One of our other friends did the bike. So I swam, did the shortened swim. It was only 800 meters because like of tropical storm Ophelia.
Right.
And it was a good call because Adina and I were done with the swim. We saw the last swimmer come out, and then everything went crazy with tropical storm conditions. And so Adina and I did the swim for our relays, and then we had, cyclists for each relays, and then I did the run. I wasn't very prepared for this half marathon run. I hate half marathons. My least favorite distance ever. My longest run had been like 11 or maybe 11 and a half, but we had tropical storm force winds and rain, and it was in the 50s. I was worried about getting cold.
Right.
But like I overheat very easily, so I wasn't very concerned, but I loved it. It was a double like out and back on the boardwalk along the ocean. So like going out, you had like a really nice tailwind, but once you turned around, you had this bad headwind. And I loved like every puddle that I got to splash through. I think it was Adina who got some really good photos of me like splashing through some puddles when you like go to start your second loop. But it was amazing. I had so much fun, and it was like mile like 11 and a half, closer to 12, that my legs were like, what are we doing? and my legs were like, stop. And I'm like, legs, like we didn't get this far to like not get to the finish line. And so I was like, we're gonna go. Like I went, like my pace slowed down. So my original goal was 3 hours because my training was not that great.
Right.
And I trained in like the 85-degree heat and sun down here in DC. And then I was blessed with tropical storm conditions and in the 50s for the run that day. So my original goal was 3 hours. And then like I went out really quick, and I was like, yeah, this thing's gonna last. And I made a thing not to look at my Garmin when it like went off every mile.
Okay.
I got to mile 10, and I'm like, I was at like 137. I'm like, this is kind of fast. I'm like, this is really fast. Like something's gonna give. Like I'm gonna hit the wall. And I did around mile 11 and a half or 12, but I did just under a 2.5 hour half marathon. So I was like super impressed with myself.
That's awesome.
Because the last time I did a half marathon as part of the 70.3, which was 70.3 Eagle Man on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, which was number 10. Yep. It was like 98 degrees, sun. I didn't have a Garmin at that point because battery was dead. So like I was like 2.5 hours. That's pretty good.
That's awesome.
So it was so much fun, and like I had like with Adina and Ruth and Simone and whoever else from Team Be Real who came for this. I only known them virtually for 3 years through Zoom for like our like Saturday morning rides or our team meetings. So like getting to meet everybody in person it was the best.
That's
It
cool.
was the
Like, isn't that what it's all about? Like the community and getting to meet people and hanging out. Like
yeah.
those memories will last you far more and far longer than any training day or, any bad training day. It's the connections on the side that make this stuff all worthwhile. And
Yeah.
and let me thank you for making our community as special, because you've been a big part of it for a while now, in your participation with us and engaging us. So thank you very much for making our community stronger as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the thing on Threads how you had like a lot of like people submitting their how it all started stories.
Yep.
I'm the one to probably blame for a few of them because a lot of people had seen my story and they're like, well, like, how do I do this? So I send them the link and I'm like, here you go.
Yes.
And some of these athletes are like telling me their stories, and these are people that like I meet through social media, and they tell me their story, and I'm like, you need to submit your story because your story is really awesome.
So
So
thank you also, because Jeremy Dutton just submitted his How It All Started story, and so we'll be profiling him and featuring him. I believe we have it scheduled for November 10th, and his story is amazing.
I know, I know.
So Martina's Wife Forever, if you go to runtag.com and you click on the top of our articles, How It All Started, just click there. You'll have an opportunity to do it. Or I'll just say,
Thank you for the link already, but don't worry, we'll work on it. We'll work on it because you do have a story.
yeah, everybody has a story, and every story matters, by the way. So speaking of stories,
Okay.
your story in 2022 when you submitted it was one of our top 10, was featured in our Best Of
Yep.
magazine.
A copy somewhere.
Depression wants to win, I won't let it. And so when I read your story, it was really heartfelt and touching for us, and I felt honored that we had the opportunity to share it. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that story and about how triathlon helps you battle the depression and the mental health side of it. So can you talk a little bit about that? What does triathlon mean to you when it comes to not the physical side of it, but the mental aspect of it?
So I've had a lot of challenges in life, which like everybody in my life who is still here and around for knows. It started with learning disabilities, like third grade when I was finally able to get tested and be diagnosed. And then like the mental health issues came in high school. But like when I found triathlon in college because I was in Texas at the time and it was a huge swimming state and I just couldn't I wasn't fast enough. Got told I wasn't good enough by too many coaches, and that's when I went into triathlon in 2004. And like triathlon has like taught me that I can do anything. Um, like my first ever triathlon in a small like central like kind of east Texas town of Athens. Um, that was my first one, and I didn't tell a lot of people that I was doing it, but I remember telling like my mom and my dad, and they're like, yeah, like what's the distance? And I was like, oh, a 300-yard pool swim, a 14-mile bike, and a 5K run. And my dad's like, oh yeah, you got this. Like you can definitely do the bike because I started biking because he's been a cyclist for like a million years, and I always just like rode my bike with him. And then I did like lots of 5K runs. Obviously, had the swimming background, and it was fun. And I finished, and I was like, what did I do? Like this is fun. When's the next one? But then like my second season, I decided I'm gonna like do some sprints, and then I'm gonna do my first Olympics.
Okay.
And I was like, I know I can swim like a mile or about. Um, I knew I could bike 25 miles. It might be slow because I'm not like the best cyclist. 10K run. Okay, I've only been running for like 2 years seriously. Like this is going to be a challenge, but I did it, and my mom was there for it. And she was already back in the DC area, but she came down for this Olympic. She was at a lot of my firsts. And I was like, yeah, I did that. And then I waited, I think it was until like 2007 to do my first half iron. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And but everyone was like, you can do it. Like, you can do it. And I was doing this half iron. I was still in Texas. It was like end of September. It was like 105 degrees. No shade on the run. So that was fun. Ended up, I think, in the medical tent for the first time with IV bags.
Nope. Good.
I have a long history of ending up in the medical tent with IV bags.
We need hydration, my friend.
I've slowly learned that. It's I'm a late bloomer with everything, and that goes with triathlons too. And like especially long distance stuff. But then when I signed up in 2008 for my first Ironman, 2007, I signed up. A lot of my friends did Ironman Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Yep.
And I had just graduated college, and I was like eyeing a full Ironman. I didn't know which one, but I had been like, all my friends were in 2007 had done Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is about 30 minutes east of Spokane, Washington, in Idaho. And I was like, yeah, I think that's the one I want to do. And I signed up for it, and all of a sudden it was like, let me just like not really tell anybody about it right now. And then that was the year I made Team USA for ITU long distance world championships in Lorient, France, which was my first triathlon DNF ever. And my mom came out for that one to France. And we were in Paris after because we were going to spend a few days in Paris after the race.
Right.
And we're at dinner. And I was like, oh, by the way, Mom. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm doing something really hard next June. And this is like July of 2007. So I'd only been signed up for a few weeks.
Right.
And she's like, oh, what hard thing are you doing? She's like, you've already done a marathon. Like, what are you doing? I was like, my first full Ironman. And she's like, does your dad know? I was like, well, we do have the international calling plan, so why don't we call him and tell him? And so obviously my dad was very like, not disappointed. He felt very bad because of my bike mechanical problem at 3 miles into this 50 whatever mile bike in France that I had. Give me a second. My earpiece fell out.
No worries.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. So I remember calling my dad, and I told him that I was going to do a full Ironman, and I don't remember like the exact like what he said, but he was just like, really? Like, can you do that? And I was like, we'll see next June. And so my mom, my best friend from college, the one who doesn't do triathlons but likes coming to all these really beautiful places where I suffer, Jane, and then my mom's cousin Rana came out. My twin couldn't come out because she was working with one of the minor league baseball teams at that point, and it's like during the season, it's like, so, obviously she was like tracking me, blah, blah, blah. And that was like one of the hardest days of my life.
Right.
June 28th, 2008 or whatever it was, Coeur d'Alene. But I did it.
So is that accomplishment sort of what you fall back on when you're dealing with depression, to say, hey, I can do hard things. I did this Ironman Coeur d'Alene and I survived even DNFs. Is that how triathlon helps you battle through the depression?
I think so. Like when I have DNFs, which I have a few to my name over the past 20 years.
If you're first of all, if you're in these sports long enough, you will have DNFs.
Yes.
Like, it's going to happen.
You're going to have, but my DNFs always come from bad bike nutrition. But, or even run nutrition, but, it's a lot of like, you know, sometimes, because I've done 3 full Ironmans, 20 marathons, 17 standalone, 3 as part of Ironman, 10 half irons, 2 age group nationals, which the most recent one was in Milwaukee this summer.
Yep.
But it's like, for like regular life things, when things get really bad, it's like, look at what I've done in the sport. Like, you know, people didn't think I could do an Ironman. I didn't think I could do a marathon when I signed up for my first one in 2006.
Right.
Like, even when I signed up for my first like half marathon, I'm like, I can't do this. Like, am I crazy? And then it's like, I look at this and I'm just like I can do this. Like, you know, like, I'm just like an ordinary person doing something extremely hard. And
yeah.
So, you know, I look at some of these accomplishments. Even like when I had to pull myself out of what was supposed to be my 10th half iron in 2019 in Rock Hall, Maryland. I had gotten sick, very sick on the swim. I'd gotten very sick on the bike. My swim, it was in this like brackish harbor, and I swallowed too much water.
Yeah.
By mile like 23, I had vomited a few times on the bike. I was just finishing my first of 2 loops, and I, at the next like aid station where volunteers were, I basically pulled myself out of the race. Ended up going to the hospital for dehydration issues, so a few IV bags. Thankfully my twin, she was out there. I was very nervous about like having the EMTs call her, because she was my my emergency contact. But like, even like for those, it's like I can come back from that, and I can, like, if I can come back from like a DNF and then like redeem myself at the next race of that distance, like, I can do anything.
Yeah, I think what people fail to realize oftentimes when it comes to a DNF is it takes courage to pull yourself out.
It does.
Because you've trained for a long period of time, you've spent money, you have this dream and this goal, and you want to pursue it. And so it takes a lot of courage to stop what you're doing in the moment, especially for somebody who's been involved in sport for as long as you have. I've been in this stuff for 17 years. I have 3 DNFs. My most recent one was earlier this year at the Canyons 100-mile race, when after about the 50K mark, I was sitting on the side of the road throwing up.
Yeah.
And I started walking a little bit, and then I found myself laying down and I was throwing up. And I was like, enough. Like, this is not, there's no reason to continue this. And it still took a lot of courage for me to say to myself, okay. And so when you talk about I can do hard things,
Yeah.
DNFing is a hard thing to do. So, you know, kudos to you for making the smart decision to pull yourself out in those scenarios, which in the moment, right, is sort of like a confidence smasher.
Yeah.
But then when you think about it, it's a confidence builder down the road, because you're like, okay, I survived that DNF and I'm going back out for more.
Yep. And so like I pulled myself out of 2019 Kinetic Multisports Waterman's, like their half iron. But 2010, I had Lake Placid was supposed to be my second Ironman finish. And I had been training, I was in Maryland, I was training in, you know, like the 90-degree heat. And then come race day, I had, so my best friend Jane from college was up there. And and my cousin Rebecca was there, and it was like in the 50s, and I didn't take in enough nutrition, and at mile 110 of the bike, I blacked out, and I can laugh about this now. It's really not funny. But I was like laying down on the side of the road with my bike on top of me. I was clipped in, and I was at mile 110 of the bike. I had 2 more miles to go to get to the run. I was having a great bike. I was at like maybe not even 7 hours for a really hard bike course. And I was like pleading with the medics, like, let me finish. And I couldn't even walk.
Right.
I couldn't walk, so my day was over. And it took a lot of courage for me to sign up for 2016 for Ironman Lake Placid.
Yeah.
Which was the longest, hardest 16 hours of my life. And like, I give props to my best friend Jane. Finally Julie got to see me do an Ironman. Like, I give props to them because it's hard to spectate.
Yes, it is.
And
it's really hard to
long of a day, and you know, I was able to pull through and finish that one, and that was, you know, obviously it's like, okay, I've done 3 full irons. I think I'm done with this for quite a while. But you know, like, even like that, like going back there, like, I need to like get the job done that I started back in 2010. It just like makes me stronger. Sorry.
Absolutely. So you've done Coeur d'Alene, you've done Lake Placid, and what was the third one?
One was it's now Ironman Maryland.
Okay.
But it was a independent full iron called Chesapeake Man, and I did that in 2011.
Gotcha. So out of the 3,
it was like October. We had no wind because the eastern shore of Maryland is known for wind and sun and heat, even in October. But we had like overcast, no wind, 70s, and that was the Ironman that my dad got to see me do. Thankfully, there was like a multiple loops for everything that he got to like see me in a million times, so he wasn't bored all day for those 12 and a half hours. But that was the second, and then Ironman Lake Placid was my third and most recent, and probably my last full iron.
Of course, was your favorite?
Wait a second. Okay.
Okay.
Wait a second. Okay.
Can you hear me
I
okay?
can hear you okay.
What was so out of the 3, which course was your favorite?
Ooh. That's a tough. What course was my favorite? Coeur d'Alene.
Okay.
Coeur d'Alene. Lake Placid is beautiful and a great place to suffer as well, but Coeur d'Alene was just like magic. It was like a magical suffering. It was so pretty. So yeah, I think Coeur d'Alene was my favorite. But
Awesome.
It was my first, so I'm kind of biased.
Yeah. Well, Ironman Texas was my first, but it was not my favorite course. So but you make faces because today's course, you know, you ride the Hardy Toll Road down there.
Yep.
I can't imagine. Yeah. But I did it when it wasn't on the Hardy Toll Road. You actually rode around the woodlands, and it was really beautiful bike course.
One of the early years.
Oh, yeah, 2011.
Yeah, one of the years.
Yep.
Yeah.
2011, 12 actually. But my favorite race is Ironman Chattanooga. But I've done Ironman Maryland as well, and it's beautiful, flat and fast, and you can suffer on the run because it does get hot and humid. So
yeah,
you got to be prepared.
Windy on the bike out there.
It wasn't that bad for us. Yeah, like we got very fortunate the year we did it because it was predominantly a tailwind for us. You know, as you do 2 loops, right? But it was predominantly a tailwind. So it wasn't too bad for us. We were very fortunate.
And you may or may not have done it before all the jellyfish became a problem.
So the year I did it, jellyfish were there. We did it in 2017, and so I did get stung by jellyfish in the practice swim, but not during the race. So I had no issues during the race.
Okay. Yeah, because
So
jellyfish is a big, like, even though, like, even in DC, like, that's like the local Ironman, but like a lot of my friends are like, yeah, I'm not doing that one. I don't want to get stung by a jellyfish.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I was fortunate, didn't have any issues in the race, but the day before I got stung. It wasn't too bad, you know. It bothered you for like 30 seconds, but the water cold enough that you kind of focused on that as opposed to the sting from the jellyfish.
Yeah.
Well, Marci, thank you so much for joining us. But before we let you go,
Okay.
we have to do our food questions.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. This is like the whole meat of the conversation is since endurance athletes love to eat and everybody has awesome food preferences, we go through these questions. So we call them rapid fire, but feel free to explain as you go through it. So first things first, pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Nay.
Yes. Oreos, original or double stuff?
Double stuff.
Wrong answer. Licorice, yay or nay?
Nay.
Now, licorice red as in the black or as in the red, yay or nay?
Both.
Both.
I don't like
Oh.
I don't like licorice.
Peeps, are they a real candy or are they just marshmallow covered in glitter?
Marshmallow covered in glitter.
Right? It's like the worst thing ever. Like, I can't imagine why these companies keep producing that stuff, yet it still sells.
Yeah.
It's Halloween season. Candy corn is all around us. Is candy corn a real candy or is it just earwax covered in sugar?
Earwax covered in sugar.
Yeah. Peanut butter or nut butter if you have an allergy. Do you go creamy or crunchy?
Creamy.
Oh, bad answer. So, if you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, are you putting the peanut butter on one slice of bread, jelly on the other, and smashing them together? Or are you putting the peanut butter and the jelly on the same slice of bread and then covering it with the other one?
Different slices.
Different slices.
On one and jelly on the other and then put it together.
So do you remember Goober, the product?
Was that like the jelly with the peanut butter
in the same jar? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that out? Like you're never buying that?
Never wasting my money on that again.
So when you make your peanut butter and jelly sandwich, do you cut it in half so you have two rectangles?
Yeah.
Do you cut it in half and then half again so you have 4 squares? Okay. Do you cut it corner to corner so you have 2 triangles? Or do you cut it corner to corner and corner to corner again so you have 4 triangles?
Corner to corner and corner to corner so I have 4 triangles.
Yes!
But I used to do the 4 squares.
No, you got to do triangles. It's like a upscale version.
But now I do triangles.
Yeah. Triangles are the best. It's like having a upscale version of the peanut butter and jelly, like in a tapas version, because you have small little bites.
Yeah.
McFun, I guess I'm pronouncing it correctly, says Goober is a time saver. So I guess they're a vote for the Goober still.
Cammy, you're wrong. You're wasting me.
So, is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco?
Wait a minute, what was the question?
Is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco?
A sandwich?
Yeah, it's got to be a sandwich because you have the bread. You have the extra stuff on the outside, even though it's shaped like a taco.
That was really confusing because I'm like, why would you put a hot dog in like a taco shell? That's the only thing my brain was thinking.
Is red velvet cake a real flavor, or is it just bougie chocolate cake dressed up for the night?
The second option. It has to be chocolate to be cake.
So that answers the question. My next question was, what's your favorite type of cake? Pure chocolate?
Well, actually, it has to be chocolate and peanut butter.
Oh, like your Reese's cereal?
Yes, like Reese's.
Breaking the rules going to Reese's cereal when the question was what Halloween cereal. By the way,
Fine, but I did find the Reese's Bats.
yes, close, right. So that's a Halloween cereal.
Reese's Bats, I found something Halloween, or the Reese's Puffs Bats.
I don't know if you saw in our stories we shared, Andrea Moore found a different General Mills cereal called Carmela Creeper, which is like a whole new category of Halloween cereal from General Mills. Frankenberry, Boo Berry, Count Chocolate, now Carmela Creeper.
I saw those at the grocery store, I actually, when my twin and I went grocery shopping, I actually saw them because they have, they've had all Halloween stuffs out since like, what?
Labor Day.
4th? But now they've put out the cereal, and I noticed all of them. I actually don't like cereal I'm a oatmeal type person. I'm a hot cereal type person.
Ma'am.
I'm not really cold cereal type person. I used to be, but I don't know what changed.
I love cereal. I'm 50 going on 90 because I love grape nuts, shredded wheat, and Raisin Bran. All these other cereals are good, but those are my go-tos. What's that?
I'll waste my money on Reese's Puffs any day. My mom thought that was like, she was like, oh, we gotta get this. And it was my mom. I got the chocolate and peanut butter trait from my mom. And I remember one day she was like, we're just gonna waste the money on this. Best way
Live free, happy. I think Live free, run happy is agreeing with me. All good on my cereal choices. Yes. Shredded wheat rules. Yes. Thank you, Adina. 18 Mac, Jason, all mixed together. Yes. Throw them all in a bowl. Yes. All my people are out. Grape nuts. Yes. We're here. We're representing. Martinez, White Forever, fresh fruits and veggies are awesome. Like, hands down, no dispute. They are awesome.
Yeah, she grows her own, so obviously she that is an option.
Very cool. Are you an ice cream fan?
Am I a what?
An ice cream fan?
Oh, don't get me started with ice cream.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Peanut butter chocolate.
Come on! Gotta have another choice.
I'm so boring.
Oh, you gotta live a little. Go out, go get yourself some chocolate chip mint, but make sure it's green. What?
Hey, I do better than my twin.
She doesn't like this. She like ice cream?
My twin does vanilla with rainbow sprinkles because she doesn't have a sweet tooth.
ECB08.
What?
ECB08 says, I can only eat cereal like a 2-year-old dry out of the baggie. That's awesome. That's fantastic.
What my mom did. That's what my mom did with Cheerios. She just put them in a bag and ate them.
I have found my people. Yes, live, run happy. Maybe we're all in our 50s, so we're worried about fiber. Yes, we're eating grape nuts. Yes. And McFlunt, you are correct. Peppermint stick. By the way, the best peppermint stick ever, don't at me, is King Leo. Go find them when the holidays, Christmas rolls around. King Leo peppermint sticks, they are the best, hands down.
I don't like mint. I've never liked mint.
You're missing out on so much.
It just doesn't do me.
I got it. I'm going to ask the question, but I got the answer already, I'm guessing. So your favorite candy bar is Reese's?
Yes.
So, like, in this time of the year, are you running out and buying the jack-o'-lantern Reese's, and then when Christmas rolls around, you're buying the tree, and then when Easter rolls around, you're buying the rabbit, even though they're all still the same thing?
Yeah, but so for Halloween, it's always like the pumpkins.
Yeah.
Like the Reese's pumpkins. Now they have Reese's Bats.
Oh, okay. The flavor.
First time. I'd never
seen
Reese's Bats.
This is great because you realize the flavor.
I'll get one.
Have you ever seen the Food That Made America?
No.
Okay, it's on the History Channel. Go watch it. There is the story about John Reese's and how he developed the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is phenomenal. It's great. Got to go watch it.
It's really good.
Okay, brownies. When it comes to brownies, are you getting the edge piece or are you getting the centerpiece?
Most likely the edge piece because it has if there's like if there's like the chocolate frosting on there.
Now, are you a person who puts nuts on your brownies or no nuts on your brownies?
I like nuts really. I don't really like nuts very well, so nuts are not on my
nuts
brownies. No.
So Marci, thank you so much for joining us and for staying up for me late on the East Coast, 8:45. I'm getting ready to pass out. For those of you who have been commenting during this food commentary section, make sure you tune in on Friday to our platform. We have a Food Fight Friday for you. It's going to be awesome. I am going to let loose on my food choice on that one, and then you guys can yell at me at how wrong I am or side with me on how right I am.
Oh.
Marci, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for being a part of our community. We really, really appreciate it.
It's awesome. I'm part of my local triathlon club is the DC Tri Club, and I've even shared the link with some of my friends from DC Tri Club so they can share how it all started story. So yeah.
Live free, run happy. Enjoy your Raisin Bran and off to bed. And Martinez, Wife Forever, yes, every Friday at noon Eastern time. No, excuse me, 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. Pacific time. Food Fight Friday comes out, so make sure you check that out. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a great night.
Bye. Hey, thank you.
Bye.